Good morning, everybody. I just wanted to quickly show you a Slinky setup or two from early this morning pre-market on CL and how you can use multiple time frame analysis when you're taking your trades. And I'm going to show you how to use the multiple time frame analysis using the super trend stop with a few different settings. If you want more information on this, I'm going to go over everything in detail during a webinar that I'm going to do Thursday at 4:30 p.m. If you'd like more info on that, just go to my site, easyeMinitrade.com, and click the upcoming webinar tab, and all the info is there. Okay, so what you're looking at, I just crammed it all on one workspace so you can see it all, and you would never need all of these charts, but depending on what time frame or tick frame or range frame you trade from, that would decide for you which one of these or two of these higher time frames you would use in your trading. So this is a pretty small chart on the far right. This is CL on a 4 range, and then I have an 8 range chart down here. I'm not really using it for anything except the filter that I have down here, and I'll go over that during the webinar. So basically we get a buy setup here at 4 o'clock this morning. If you're up and trading, great. You know, I'm not, but anyway, we have a buy here. It meets our criteria for taking the entry based on our filter chart, and then the same with the short here, meets the criteria for taking the Slinky short based on the filter chart. Now, when you're taking those, obviously most of you know what support and resistance is and how to draw it. Another alternative to that is if you put the super trend stop on your higher time frames, you could use those as likely reaction areas. So like I said, you can use anything you want. There's a couple expensive systems out there that look like that's all they're using is a super trend stop. So I'm not going to mention any names, but you might want to give this a shot, and it might sound familiar once you start looking at your charts with the super trend stop here. So anyway, this is a 3-minute right here. This is a 9-minute, and over here on the far left, I have a 15, a 30, and a 60. And what I'll typically do each morning is I'll start out seeing where the super trend stop is on the higher time frame charts. And if they are all in agreement, meaning if super trend stop is above price on all of these higher time frames, then price is going to have an easier time moving lower. If the super trend stop is below price, then on all of the higher time frames, then price is generally going to have an easier time moving higher. Right now, what you're looking at here is we have mixed messages on these 3 higher time frames. We have the super trend stop above price on the 15-minute. It's now above on the 30. It was below until here, and I'll show you that in just a second. So it's above on the 30, and it's below on the 60. So what generally will happen is when they don't all agree, this is a good example, comes down on the 60-minute to the super trend stop, and it's holding as support. So let's say that this price was to bounce now, then realistically the super trend stops on the higher time frames. Now, not on small time frames, you'll find that price won't have very much difficulty getting through them, but mainly on the much higher time frames, 15, 30, 60. So if this were to bounce, then the super trend stop up here, now plotting at 6401, and this will move based on price, but that would likely act as resistance. So looking here at this trade at 406 this morning for a buy, if you look at the higher time frames at that same time, let's see where we're at. You can see at 406 on the 3-minute, we had just broken above the super trend stop. So all clear there, we got room above. If you look at it on the 9-minute, you can see the super trend stop is right above our head. So if you're taking this buy here, then realistically you have to be aware that the super trend stop is above you on that 9-minute or 10-minute, 5-minute, whatever you decide to use, and has a good chance of holding as resistance. At 406 this morning on the 15-minute, the super trend stop was above but pretty far above. As you can see, it was up here at 64.06. So just like with the 9 minute, it has, room up to that 64.06. So you can see that's right where it came to, and then it pulled back. Here you can see on the 9 minute, it popped through a hair but came back and closed under it. So holding as resistance on that 15. When you look at it on the 30, it was below. So no issues there because we're taking a buy. So we've got room above us, and the same thing on the 60. Now on the short here at 5:18 this morning, this is the bar that was forming when that short set up over here. So you can see it's hitting that super trend stop on that 3 minute. And so you can see it struggled there a bit. It did manage to get closed below, but if you were taking this trade, what would go through your head is, okay, I might get stuck there a bit, and then you can look and see if you got room below to support. So in this case, support would be the pivot point if you use Floor Trader pivots. So that would be your target area. So it gets through on the 3 minute. So going into this trade, you would know it might struggle there just a little bit. And then looking at the 9 minute chart, this is where price was forming as well. So we got the super trend stop above, so we're good to take that short. Same on the 15, super trends above, so you could take that short. And then here on that 30 minute, this is the bar that was forming right here when this short set up. That yellow line is the close from yesterday, so you can see that's right where it was setting up here this morning. So this has room down to the super trend stop below, which was at 63.80. So if you take that short, that you might struggle at that 63.80 before hitting the next area of support, which is that pivot point here. And then looking at the 60 minute, here's our next area of support as well. Super trend stop down there at 73, pivot point right below at 71. So there's your reaction area, and then that's where it bounces off of. So I'll show you a little bit more in detail during the webinar on Thursday how you can make this work for you. I hope that you find it helpful and have a fantastic day. Take care, you guys.